And we are live. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Sam, live production tips and tools here. Today, I'm excited as always because we're going to be talking about live streaming. Let me know if you are in the chat and let me know if you can hear me. Put in the chat, say hello. Hello to everyone joining live. If it happens that you watch this on a replay, welcome to live production tips and tools. And I hope you enjoy the content. Today, we're going to be talking about live streaming software versus hardware. But at the same time, I'm gonna be chatting with you guys depending on how many people show up today. If you have questions, we're gonna talk about your questions, your live streaming setups. Either you live streaming for a church or you live streaming for events. Either you're a freelancer or a YouTuber or any kind of social media content creator. We're gonna be able to talk today about live streaming software and hardware. We got BMK. Hello, thank you so much for joining the live stream. Welcome to the chat, and to the live stream. At the same time, guys, before I actually get started with the main topic of today, I wanted to show you a little bit behind the scenes how I do things here. Just just a little bit of how I set up my stream. Actually, it's pretty simple. I'm gonna show you. We got Victor in the chat. Thank you, man. Thank you, my friend, for joining. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you a little bit behind the scenes. So today I have my another camera set up just to show you a little bit what my home studio looks like for live stream. So basically, this is the other angle of me. So basically, this is what my studio looks like. I really didn't have time to color grade and make sure the whole thing looks good. But yeah, so this is where I'm sitting right now. So basically, I've got three monitors. So as you can see, I got one monitor behind me, and this is basically for the core. So this is like if you can see on this angle, this is like my background, right? So just to make sure it looks good, and I try to have a picture that I display on it full screen to just kind of match the background. And at the same time, so I've got a USB microphone. Sorry, before I go to the mic, let me finish with screens. So I got my second screen. This is my main screen, this one right here. So basically, this is the one that I use for like I have my OBS running on it and everything. And this is, you got another small monitor right here. This is basically to kind of like when I'm trying to share the my screen with you guys, because I don't want to show you OBS and everything. So like whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do a screen share, so I use this small monitor. But I think I'm gonna upgrade it because it's too small actually, because sometimes I can't really see what I'm sharing. Like I can see it, but it's kind of too small. So but yeah, that's my third monitor. Now going to the audio part, we got this USB microphone. Let me just take a shot. Go to my main camera and kind of raise it up a little bit. So this is my USB microphone that I use. It's a good mic. It's kind of old. I got it like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and I wasn't using it until I stopped using it until I started this channel in January this year. And I tried it, and it actually sounded really really good. So I use it to record my YouTube videos. And as you can see, it's really usually like for USB microphones, you kind of have to have it close to your mouth. But as you can see, it's really not that close, and it gives me a nice audio. So at the same time, I have to tweak some stuff in OBS, just add a little bit of compression and add add a little bit of compression and add some effects to just make sure it sounds good, right? So then moving on, I've got my key light, and basically this is my key light. It's a very cheap light that I got from Amazon, I believe three years ago again. So it was here. One thing that I like about it, it's not really expensive. It's just the fact that I have some this soft box on it. So like it just gives me some even filtered lighting on my face. And as you can see, I mean, like you guys can see for yourself, it's not really that bad. All right. And then the last thing, of course, is my two practical lights in the back. So I've got this LED bulb, this one, yeah, this one right here on my background, and I got the lamp as well, just to kind of add, some first of all, it's like to kind of separate me from the background, but at the same time it adds a little bit of like this dramatic lighting effect. So basically that's my setup. As for software wise, I'm using a cheap capture card that cost me about $16. So today I'm using two capture cards actually to be able to show you the second angle as well. And as for OBS, so basically I'm just gonna send OBS to the second monitor for you guys to see a little bit. Hold on a second, and I'm just gonna boom. So there you go. So that's my OBS. Basically, I'm running everything in OBS, and as you can see, let me just show you full screen. So I got like few, maybe this is not the best to show. Let me show you this one. I think it's better. Yeah, so basically, as you can see, I got a few scenes here. I got a welcome screen, the video that you see when I start my live stream, and I've got my live camera, which is this one. And yeah, so and then I got some picture-in-picture effect, the one you're seeing right now. So just set up few scenes, and I got my chat. So my chat, as you guys send me some chat, everything is coming in through OBS, so I can see everything you guys are sending. And I got my this one. It doesn't show well because I sent OBS to the smaller screen. But basically, this is the app that I use to kind of show you to show your comments. Let me just bring it here. So as you can see, like this is the app that I use, guys. So like when you send comments, I can see them here. It's called Twidget, and I'm able to display them on screen by just selecting each comment that I want to show. So that's it. And and so I got like my audio as well. So like the audio is coming from the microphone. So like every scene has like the microphone as a source on it. So like every time I switch from camera one to maybe full screen or screen share, I still have the audio coming from the microphone. So that's pretty much it. And I send everything to YouTube. So I have my account connected to YouTube. My OBS kind of is connected to my YouTube channel. So like I send everything from OBS, and that's how I do it. So guys, that's a walkthrough of my setup. Let me know what you think before we get into the content itself. If you are in the chat, let me see a little bit who's here. We've got sorry man, I don't know how to pronounce your name. EMM. All right, I'm gonna call you EMM. Checking if it works. Okay, sorry, I didn't get that. What do you mean? What are you trying to check? Sorry, I just don't understand. What are you trying to check? Let me know. if it's something that I have to do on my end. If you're here, let me know where you're watching from, and let's get right into the content. Again, guys, today we're gonna be talking about live streaming software and hardware. So basically, we're gonna start with live streaming hardware. So um, when we say live streaming hardware, basically what do we mean? We mean like things like Blackmagic ATM mini stuff, or like YOLO box or any other like physical switcher for live streaming. Now, those things are really good. I'm gonna start with the pros of using those like hardware switchers and encoders. Number one, the core number one. Sorry, the pro the pro number one is as obviously the fact that they are doing the heavy lifting. So you now depending on the computer to do the work. Like right now, I'm live streaming and I'm using OBS. And if my computer was not good enough, I would have some issues, right? And that's because I'm using a software-based switcher or encoder. But if you're using something like ATM Mini or a Blackmagic, ATM Mini Pro or ATM Mini Pro ISO or ATM Mini, like anything, whatever, any kind of physical switcher, you really don't have to worry about your computer being super powerful. You need just a computer that can handle something like installing the Blackmagic software control, something that can maybe run Windows 10, things like that. But you don't need to have like a super powerful computer because the hardware is going to do the work. So that's one of the pros, and I feel like a lot of people are not taking advantage of that. You see like somebody will get an ATM Mini Pro or ATM Mini Extreme, and they still use like a super powerful computer. Like, you really don't need to. You don't need to spend $3,000 on a streaming computer or $2,000 on a streaming computer if you're using something like ATM Mini Pro, because at the end of the day, the ATM Mini Pro is only sending a webcam quality kind of signal. So like it's not really heavy. It's just doing all the encoding, putting everything together, and sending a one signal that is already like being mixed and has put the audio and the video and color grading. If you're doing any color grading, of course, everything is together. It's only one signal that is not going to be super heavy on your computer. Now, with those type of switchers, actually, like with the ATM Mini Pro and ATM Mini Extreme, ISO Extreme, you already have a streaming engine built in into those switchers, which means you don't even have to use your computer to live stream. You can easily live stream through the ATM Mini Pro or ATM Mini Extreme by like sending all the cameras through the switcher, and at the same time, kind of like if you have some graphics, you can send some graphics from your computer, some sort of presentation from your computer to the ATM Mini, and actually let the ATM Mini do the recording if you need to record, and the streaming at the same time, and the switching. So basically, that's one of the biggest advantage of having a physical switcher. Let me see. I was checking the top chat capture. I like it. Okay. All right, man. Thanks. Yeah, so you can use it if you want. See. Can you throw more light about it? So EMM, I'm gonna call you EMM. Sorry. Let me know. Let me know what you want me to throw light on. Do you mean like the camera, my GH5? Maybe you couldn't see my GH5. Let me know. All right. So guys, that's one of the biggest pros, um, uh, for using a hardware a hardware switcher, right? Now, another thing is they're so easy to use. That's like the second pro. Like, they're so easy to use. You just have like, once you have it set up, most of the time you're just gonna have maybe 4 or 8 buttons that you have to press, right? The first time you, of course, you're gonna have to set it up, but once you have it set up, you're just gonna have few buttons to kind of like, press camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. If you have some picture in picture effects that you have to kind of run, then you already have it set up. So once you have it set up, they're so easy to use, they're so physical. You don't need to be like a computer nerd to be able to use those. Like, you can just set it up and have any volunteer actually tell them what to do, and like they're gonna be able to run it without any problem, right? So that's my second reason why I feel like it's a good thing to use this the hardware, switching, like switching and encoding for your live stream. Now, the third thing is actually the fact that they're going to save you money. Well, depending on which one you buy, but with now the new Blackmagic ATM Mini stuff, you can actually, like for under $500 or around $500, you can get the ATM Mini Pro. For 4 cameras, you get like 4 HDMI inputs. Record, you can record within the unit and live stream within the unit. So like that's really good. And for like, around $500. Let me tell you guys, I always said this back in the day. I owned a TriCaster 40. I paid $5,000. That was like 8 years ago, and it only had like 4 HDMI. No, not even HDMI. It didn't have HDMI. It's 4 RCA component inputs, and that was it. And I could live stream on YouTube. Now like the software is kind of outdated, I can't even use it now. And like it cost me $5,000, guys. Think about it. Now like for under $500, you can get something exactly the same thing and be able to live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and have full HDMI inputs. Like, guys, if you're just getting started into live streaming, you have to appreciate what Blackmagic Design is doing, and like all the technology that is available right now for live streaming. So just to tell you that one of the advantages of using this hardware based switchers and encoders is the fact that really not that expensive, and they can do most of the work for you. Now, let me see. Let me just take a look at the chat. Run our live stream using a gaming desktop Core i5 with quad HDMI capture card and GTX graphics card. Yeah, man, like that's good, man. So like if you have a gaming computer, usually for live streaming, again, gaming computers, live streaming and video editing, you always want to go with gaming computers. So I think we all know that if you don't have a gaming computer or some computer that kind of that was dedicated on gaming, then the performance is gonna be an issue, right? So that's a good setup, man. But what I would say for your setup, like if you get, it happens that you get like a hardware, something like the ATM Mini Extreme or ATM Mini Pro, you probably not gonna be using your computer to its maximum, which is okay. I'm not telling you to have like some crappy computers, but what I'm saying is the hardware is going to be doing all the work, like most of the work for you. So that's That's something that I wanted you guys to keep in mind. Okay, like I've done it actually. I bought a 400. I made a video about it. I bought a $400 computer for this church, and they had the ATM Mini, the best model, and they are sending all the cameras through the um the ATM Mini and all the graphics, and they're sending the USB out, which is like a webcam kind of out to the computer, and they're using OBS. So as long as your computer can run OBS or maybe vmix. Vmix is a little tricky, but like as long as your computer can run whatever software you're using to live stream on YouTube and be able to run the Blackmagic design, which is like the only requirements actually for Blackmagic software control. I think you need to have a computer that can run Windows 10. That's the only requirement they have listed on their website. They don't even care about like graphics card and stuff like that. So as long as you can run that software to be able to control your ATM Mini, then you're good. You're really good. And if you're using OBS, then make sure your computer can run OBS. But like other than that, like you should be okay, because your computer, that's all is doing. Is not encoding like that much. It's not doing switching or combining audio and or scaling, downscaling or upscaling cameras. It's not doing that. Like the Blackmagic, the hardware encoder and switcher is doing the work for you. So that's why, guys, if you buy those hardware encoders and switchers, don't bother spending a lot of money on the computer unless you need the computer for something else, like editing videos or gaming. If you're a gamer, then I would say that's a different story, right? Well, okay, so one of the cons, even though I love those hardware switchers, one of the cons is the fact that they are going to expire, right? At some point, you see, like I gave you an example of my TriCaster 40. Like back in the day, having a TriCaster was a thing. Like not everybody could have a TriCaster. I will tell you, maybe I was like in my town, I was one of the few people that had a TriCaster, apart maybe from like these giant production companies. Like, but for people like in my kind of business kind of thing, like I was one of, like, maybe I was the only one to actually own it. So like this is like it was super expensive and so hard to access, and one of the problem is that now I can't use it. It's done. Like it's done. It's gone. Like no one uses. Like for me to use it, I have to kind of use a physical, like a. I have to kind of convert HDMI cameras to RCA, and then by doing that, I'm having some color issues and my video quality is kind of being lost. And then they didn't even upgrade the software, so now like the software is kind of outdated and the company doesn't want to update it, so like it's gone. So even the Blackmagic like ATM Mini, if you guys remember, the few things what was it, like there are few hardware the Blackmagic's kind of dropping right now that not being used anymore. You know, like I had this little capture card called Intensity Shadow. I don't know if you guys remember that Intensity Shadow from Blackmagic. We still have, I think at my church they still have one, and like right now sometimes you plug it, doesn't even work. And I don't think Blackmagic is making firmware or any updates for it, right? So like that one is gone. This like they say Blackmagic ATM Mini, maybe I don't know what's gonna happen in 2 years from now, but I don't know. It may not be around, or maybe still be around, but maybe 3 4 years, they may stop making software or updating software for it, and maybe we're gonna have newer, like more cameras with SDI, and we probably gonna forget about HDMI. Again, I'm not sure. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just throwing ideas here, but what I'm trying to say is, or we may go 4K. So once like everything's kind of transitioning to 4K, the ATEM Mini or ATEM Mini Pro or ATEM Mini Pro Extreme, whatever, they're not gonna be relevant anymore. So that's one of the issues, right? And it's gonna be hard. Like most of the time, companies are going to kind of drop it and forget about it because they want to make newer stuff and make more money, right? So that's one of the cons. So like when you buy it, keep in mind that it's maybe good for 3 4 years, maybe max, right? And then after that, you kind of have to invest in something else, right? So, or something newer. So that's just a reality, right? But now, if you're using like something, let's go to the software part now. As far as software switches go, we're talking about things like OBS, Resi for churches, Restream, vMix, things like that, you know. Let me see, let me just take a look at the chat a little bit. All right, looks like the chat is a little quiet. So guys, let me know where you're watching from, by the way, right? So like we're talking about things like vMix, OBS, yeah, Restream, StreamYard. Like if you are into social media, you know, like doing live streams like what I'm doing, I could easily use something like StreamYard. So like those but StreamYard is a little different because it's kind of web based, so it's not like an actual software that you have to install into your computer. But what I'm trying to say, those software based switchers or encoders, they are going to rely 100% on your computer, right? So you gotta find a way to bring in your video. Of course, you may use something like NDI. You may use something like internal like capture cards, you know, like something like the Blackmagic Deck Link that you can install within your PC. You could use something like I think there's some other companies that actually make like some internal not graphics card, capture cards that you can install inside your PC. Have like 4 HDMI inputs, and then you can have access to all the cameras through vMix or OBS or any other live streaming software that you may be using. So the thing is, you are going to rely 100% on your computer. So you gotta make sure you have a super powerful computer. Some good gaming computer is going to do the job. And once you have everything set up, obviously you're gonna need some good graphics card for that. It's like editing a video, but at the same time you like exporting it at the same time and encoding it and sending it to the web. So the computer is doing the heavy lifting, and that's gonna be some computer that is going to cost you really some good money. Again, now it's good because you don't have to deal with software. Sorry, you don't have to deal with, you know, buying hardware and stuff like that, and you're gonna have multi-view depending on which software you're using. But one of the cons is, another pro about this setup is the fact that you can easily color grade. This is one thing that I love about the software based switches. You can easily color grade, color match your cameras, because one of the issues I actually have with Blackmagic switches right now is the fact that you cannot color grade your cameras live. You know, like on my last stream, I showed you guys how I color grade my camera coming into my computer using OBS, and I love it. It's kind of nice because you can get a nice picture by, you know, adjusting your contrast a little bit, you know, adding a little bit of saturation and all that kind of stuff, and making sure camera 1 matches with camera 2, so that when you switch from camera 1 to camera 2 or camera 3, it doesn't look kind of weird, right? So that's one thing that you're gonna get from a software based switcher like vMix, OBS, or any other software. Now Blackmagic does the same thing, but they require you to use their cameras for their software. Because you have, with the Blackmagic control software, you have an option to color grade cameras coming in, but the thing is they ask you to use their cameras, otherwise it's not gonna work. I still feel that it's not right. I feel like Blackmagic should find a way to kind of enable that feature if it's possible. I believe it's possible. And for like all the cameras, all the camera brands, and actually maybe charge a fee. I wouldn't mind paying an extra $50 or $100 or $200 to have that feature enabled into my ATEM software control, and actually be able to, take advantage of, like color grading my cameras, right? So like that's something that you're gonna have for a software-based encoder. Now, another thing that I feel like now it's a problem for software-based encoder is the fact that obviously it's gonna take you. It's like it's too much to manage, right? Like even my show that I'm trying to run, like my live stream right now, I'm having to kind of go through, see if the chat is working, and I kind of have to check on my like to switch from camera 1 to camera 2, or to show you some screen sharing and stuff. Like it's too much for me to manage, and at the same time talk to you guys and follow my notes and everything. So like it's too much to manage. Now if it's like in something like a church environment or an event kind of setup, it's still like if you relying on volunteers, it's gonna be hard. In fact, like I remember this church I was helping a few weeks ago, and they were trying to run I feel like I think they were trying to run PTZ cameras, two PTZ cameras through vMix using NDI, and they probably gonna add more cameras. For now they're running two cameras, right? And then they're trying to run on the same computer Easy Worship, and I think they were trying to run something else, right? So like you have one computer running NDI. Yeah, they were trying to control the cameras too on the same computer. So think about it. You're getting NDI cameras from like you're getting them to vMix using the same computer, right? And so they have like they were planning on buying a SuperPuff computer and install like these capture cards, like built-in capture cards, and then for like in case they need to add some HDMI based cameras, but at the same time for PTZ cameras bring them via NDI. So like they had to make some dedicated kind of software. Oh, you can do it in vMix, right? So you can control your NDI cameras within vMix. So basically they were trying to control the cameras within vMix and run the stream within vMix, bring in graphics within vMix, like Easy Worship using NDI, and live stream at the same time and switch cameras at the same time. So like that's too much to manage. I bet maybe max one person will be able to do that kind of production, and like they really need to know what they're doing. Now let's say if that person is not present on that particular day, it's gonna be an issue for like someone else to kind of step in, because it's too many things to manage at the same time. That's where a software becomes complicated, right? And like I'm not even talking about that, like the fact that the computer has to be like really really good to handle all those kind of stuff. So that's why it's so hard to actually be able to kind of recommend either one, right? So I would say like really like you need to assess your needs. If you're running one or two camera max, I still feel like if you have a computer that you're really using for video production and stuff, you probably don't need to buy an ATEM mini or something if you don't have money to buy a physical switcher, right? But and that's gonna, like that should be okay. Like you're running OBS or vMix and just have two inputs, maybe some graphics coming in, some lower thirds from another computer, or like through NDI, you should be good, right? Now, if you have money to invest in a physical switcher, I'm a big fan of physical switchers because you can set it up and anyone can use it. And actually, you're not even limited to using the physical switcher, because you can live stream from the physical switcher. You can send, like, you can switch from using the physical switcher, maybe send one signal to the computer, and be able to use something like OBS or Restream if you want to stream to multiple destination, and actually add graphics, maybe using the computer, use some NDI stuff to bring in stuff, and then combine the physical and the software switcher, kind of like maybe have the physical switcher do the switching, the main switching, have the software do maybe a little bit of just switching from, like, adding graphics, or maybe switching from presentation to the main camera, like the light kind of switching stuff. Maybe use it to encode at the same time, to live stream on the web, right? So, like, you really, I don't want to recommend, like, I don't want to say the hardware switcher is the best, or the software switcher is the best. I feel like it really depends on your need. But if you don't want to rely on a computer, another thing, like relying on the computer sometimes, depending if you're using it heavily, you may start, let's say, the first time you buy it, you get it brand new, it's working fine, and after 6 months or 10 months, it gets a little bit older, the hard drives start cracking and stuff, and then you start having some issues. That's another problem using a software or relying on the computer. But for the hardware base, the hardware is gonna stay the way it is. Like, it's not gonna really just get old, because the only thing it's doing is only switching cameras. That's it. It's dedicated just for that, nothing else. So, like, it's gonna work until, like, I don't know, until you can't use full HD anymore and you have to upgrade to 4K. So, like, that's one of the biggest advantages of using hardware. So, guys, let me know in the chat. Let me know what you're using to live stream your stuff, and let me know if you feel like hardware is actually something that you would prefer over software. Now, when it comes to, let's talk about software a little bit. When it comes to software, what's the best live streaming software out there? That's a good one, because, well, again, depending on how much money you want to spend, what's your budget, and what do you want to do? That's the question that I ask people all the time, because it's so easy to say, hey, vMix is the best live streaming software on the market right now. But if it doesn't solve your needs, then it's not the best for you, right? It could be the best for most people, maybe not the best for you. So, I feel like for most of us, like, if you're on a budget, let me tell you my truth, right? If you are on a budget, I feel like OBS is the best because it's free, right? Like, I don't care what you do, anything you may be doing, if you're on a budget and you have no money, OBS is the best. It does the job. It can do anything that you want. Now, it takes a little bit of time to set up and to get used to, but once you have it set up, all these things are set up, you can buy something like the Elgato, the Stream Decks. That's going to help you to actually have some physical buttons that you can press and change scenes and stuff. That's gonna be like, if you buy that, it's a one-time purchase, and you combine it with OBS, it's gonna be awesome, right? So OBS, number one, best for broke people. I don't want to say for broke people, but like if you're on a budget, OBS is going to do the job. It looks professional. It can do 4K, it can do 1080, it can do any frame rate that you want. You can live stream on multiple platforms. So it can do anything that vMix does, right? For free. Think about it, for free, guys. Like when I started using OBS back in the day, I actually thought it was some sort of like scam, Like I was like, guys, I've used Ustream, Livestream. These like were the early platforms that were like charging money to be able to live stream. You had to pay money. And when YouTube came, YouTube started offering like free live streaming. I was like, YouTube is just like, maybe they're gonna throw in a lot of ads and stuff. Like, I couldn't believe, when you're used to paying for something and then all of a sudden it's free and like free, it's like, no, this is like something behind this. I just don't believe it. Like there's a catch. So like, but the truth is OBS is very powerful and it's free, guys. It's free. So like a lot of people don't take advantage of OBS, and the thing is it can do anything, like everything that vMix does. So now again, I have to admit it's a little complicated to set up and get it going. Now, if you want something very easy to use, straightforward, where you have to like everything is done for you, some graphics design done for you for lower thirds and stuff, then I'll say vMix is number 2, because vMix, not only the pricing is good because it's a one-time fee kind of thing, license, and you get access to the whole software. And it does, honestly, vMix is gonna give you like ease of use. It's so easy to use, easy to bring in guests if you want to bring in guests, like so many things that you can do to display comments and stuff like that. And it's not really that expensive, honestly. Say vMix, if you're on a budget, still you can afford vMix. I think vMix is actually one of the best. If you don't care about money, I would say vMix is actually one of the best. Like, is one of the best, guys. Right now, after that, of course, we're talking about things like Restream. I feel like Restream is more for like if you want to live stream on multiple platforms, which something you could do, by the way, with vMix and OBS. But like Restream is going to make it even easier for you to do things like that. So like, but again, you kind of have to pay for it. So there's a fee they have to pay. That's why I said you really need to know, like, what do you need, what are your needs, and what are you looking for like what are you looking for when deciding which software to use, right? Let me see what's in the chat. We got BMK, hardware is the best solution. Yeah, well, true, agreed, man, agreed. Like hardware, again, I don't want to say, okay, is the like the best, but like for most people, I feel like hardware is the best, because you can rely on it. You can rely on it. You know that if you're the main producer and you can't show up, you're sick, something happened to you, you can like get volunteers to do like the job, and you can simply tell them, hey, everything is set up, this is camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, you have the multi-view, and what you have to do is just when you want the camera 1 to go live, you go live, just like that, as simple as that. So like that's one of the things, the reasons why I say hardware is really the best, and you can rely on it. Like you can rely on it 24/7. It's not gonna disappoint you. And now if you into software a little bit, now you can use both, so you can take advantage of the the hardware superpowers, and combine it with something like vMix or OBS or Restream or something like that, and actually be able to do the switching and the encoding in the hardware, and then send it to the software for like adding some extra juice. So yeah, I think you're right, man. Say Victor, we are using XSplit. Yeah, I think we talked about it with Victor. That's another software that you guys, personally, I haven't used it, but I checked it out, and a lot of people use it, so it's something to check out as well. um, Let me see. BMK, the best streaming software is based on your budget. True. True. I agree with you. 100%. 100%. And the thing is, like, guys, any budget, with any budget, let me tell you, like, with any budget, you can get a good looking live stream. With any budget, even zero budget. Okay, maybe zero budget is a little too much. Okay. But with any budget, like, the gear is not the problem. Let me tell you the truth. The gear is not the problem. The problem is the skills. Like, you need to invest in yourself. Like, this is the truth, guy. This is the harsh truth. Like, you see people, even myself, I'm guilty. Sometimes I'll be like, I need this Blackmagic camera. Oh, I need to get a red camera. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been crying to get a red camera. Red, you know? And it costs like thousands of dollars, and I could not afford it until now. I even wanted this one old red camera that I wanted to buy because it's super old, but it's called Raid, so like it has that branding on it. It's really, really old and it's super heavy. I wanted to get it because it's kind of cheap now, just like to be able to own a red camera. But then one day I sat, I was like, like, am I actually using what I have to the maximum? Because most of the time, you don't even understand what white balance is. You don't even understand what shutter speed is. You don't even understand how to use different lenses to get different looks, or how to adjust your camera to get different, like, to get the best angles, or to work on your lighting. Because that's another thing, people don't consider lighting. And actually, lighting is like over 50% of your overall image quality is done by your lighting. If your lighting is bad, like if I turn off all the lights that I have in this studio right here, you guys will be disappointed of what I'll be able to get using the same camera. You know, I will tell you, like, the image you're watching right now is like 60% or 75% coming from the lighting. So, like, you got like your audio, so your sound, very important. Your sound is probably, I would say, like, your sound is like 40% of the overall live stream. Your sound is like 40%. Your lighting is another 40%. The 20% remaining is only on the camera, on the image. I'm telling you, like, I can bring like some cheap camera right now and actually like use it on my live stream, and you guys won't even tell the difference. Why? Because the lighting is good. The lighting, the audio. So we need to sometimes like stop focusing on the best cameras or the most expensive gear, and actually think about investing in in ourselves, in our skills. Because your skills are more important than your gear. This is the truth, guys. Like, I've been making that kind of mistake for years until I understood. Right now, I'm focusing in investing in myself, in my skills, how to edit, how to better color grade my image, how to, understand the color science from different cameras, how to use different switchers and actually use them to the max. That's what's most important, you know? Anyways, let me see what's in the chat. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the preaching. BMK, what do you think about Wirecast? So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Wirecast, I think I used it back in the day, but I haven't using it recently. So like, I feel like I've heard some people actually saying that it's really good. But I don't want to give you my input right now because I haven't been using it. I like to kind of recommend things that I have used myself. So I would have to kind of go back and take a look and try it again. But I know a lot of people who used it in the past and they kind of loved it. So I would say go ahead and try it. Try it. Again, it really depends on your needs. So go ahead and try it, and let me know. Please send me an email, by the way. Go to my description on my about section. Let me know. I like to hear from you guys, if you like some products, so I can recommend to other people, right? So yeah, so sorry man, I can't give you my input. But again, like as I said, any live streaming software, depending on what you're doing. By the way, BMK, what kind of live streaming are you into? Are you live streaming for a church? Are you live streaming for social media, like what I'm doing right now? Or let me know, what kind of live streaming are you into? Let me know. Maybe I'll be able to easily recommend you something or answer your question. You know. So yeah, man. Like, it's really that simple. Like, for me, when choosing, or when I'm trying to recommend something, I always start with, what do you need? So like, let's say for like churches, um, like I will start with, like, I know in general what churches need, right? Like they need to live stream their service, right? And they need some sort of like presentation software, something like ProPresenter, and they need to bring in few cameras, one or two or three cameras, depending on their budget, and they need to show maybe some lower thirds, the name of the pastor or the speaker. So I say, okay, how much money you want to spend? What's your budget? How many volunteers you have? Are they tech savvy? You know, do they know what they're doing, or they're like, they almost know nothing? So like, if you have people who like know nothing about tech, then I'll say, maybe if you don't have budget, you want something free, I'll start with OBS. Now, if you tell me you have a little bit of budget, and then I will say, okay, let's go to vMix. If you can afford a powerful computer, and install vMix, and then I will set up everything for them most of the time, and then I'll show volunteers how to use it. Now, I always recommend, if you have a little bit of cash, obviously, to invest in something like Blackmagic ATM Mini, because it's gonna help you. Not only it's gonna give you a good quality image, at the same time it's gonna be easy to use. Of volunteers, I can set up everything, and volunteers can just hit camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. I make sure the audio is already set, right? So the audio is connected, everything is done, and volunteers can easily switch cameras. Now you can have one person running ProPresenter, or running Easy Worship, or any other presentation software, and then you set up the lower thirds and the Bible verses or lyrics for them, and boom, so like, that's how I approach it, guys. That's how I approach it. Now, if you live streaming for social media, again, if you are not tech savvy, I would say, and you have a little bit of money, then I would say go for something like, I wouldn't even recommend vMix for like social media. I think there are better solutions out there. Uh, Something like StreamYard, Melon app, um, like if you want something easy, because most of the social media people, they want to bring in guests, right? They want to kind of interview people remotely and stuff like that. So I would say like, those web-based apps are actually better, because you don't need to have a super powerful computer. Again, like something like StreamYard, they're going to be using your internet browser, so then you're using their servers to live stream, and do all the encoding and stuff. So that's what I recommend for content creators who have a little bit of budget, who can afford to pay, and who are not tech savvy. Now, if you are tech savvy, and you have time to set up your OBS like me, then I'll just use OBS. It's free, and it works. So like, guys, it really depends on what you're trying to do. Like, eventually I'm gonna get an ATM Mini Pro as well, for my setup, just for the ease of use. I'll still keep using my OBS, maybe send the webcam out for like, to be able to add a little bit of color, right, for myself, and use it to maybe switch angles from camera 1 to camera 2, maybe send some maybe I may use my laptop to send in some like screen sharing stuff, or even for my live streams I may start using some presentation style, so I can have like a PowerPoint presentation and or Google Slides and stuff like that, so I can switch between, right? I can have some pre-made scenes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna combine like something like I'm gonna combine like my OBS and ATM Mini to kind of like get what I want, right? So like always start from what you want and what you can afford, and kind of like reverse engineer. That's my best advice, guys. Let me see. We got BMK. Okay, you live streaming for a church. Okay. I get it, man. I get it. So let me know. Again, if you don't have, if you have your setup, if it's already working, then good. Like we shouldn't even be focusing too much on like, oh, what's the best software for this and for this and that. Like, if what you need is being done, that's all you need, man. Like that's all you need. Don't need to spend extra cash. It's like when you see a new camera coming out, and you, I know, I've been there. Every time I see like the Nikon Z9 just came out, you feel like, I wish I could use that camera. Or like some newer Panasonic cameras that came out, you feel like, I wish I could have that camera. The Blackmagic 6K Pro came out. I feel like, I want to have that camera. I love the color science. I love this and that. Like, it's good to dream, right? But you gotta be aware of what you need and what you can afford. And I guarantee you, by investing in your skills, or training your people, your volunteers, or your team, train your team, invest in your team, invest in your people and yourself. Your lighting, very, very important. People, like even myself, spending a lot of time into cameras and they ignore the lighting part. Your lighting part, man, that's that's the biggest element of your live stream. Make sure your your church stage looks good. You can do some DIY lighting for churches, like for cheap. Like try get some black backdrop and start adding some LED lights. Get some key lights to light your subject. I think I'm gonna do a video about this because I feel like people don't understand the importance of this. So like your lighting, your skills, make sure your stage looks good. Make sure every single subject is well lit on stage, and make sure your white balance is correct. And then once you have that, invest in yourself. Understand how your camera works. Like you gotta not get married to your camera, but you need to go into your camera's brain. Like understand how your camera works. Understand every single menu in your camera, right? Get the most out of it. Like I bet some people, like a pro, can use a $300 camera and create like a live stream that looks super, super good because they understand how the camera works. They understand the limitations. They understand the strength of the camera. And at the same time, they understand the importance of having good audio and good lighting. Good audio and good lighting, guys, right? Well, I feel like I'm preaching today. My live stream was not meant for this. Today I was supposed to talk about software and hardware for live streaming, but I feel like I went over a little bit and I started talking about other stuff. Let's see. Victor, which is the best presentation software for live streaming? Free Worship, Easy Worship, or Pro Presenter? Well, I'm gonna tell you again. Depends on what you need, right, and what you can afford. if you have the dollars, if you have money and you can afford ProPresenter, I'll say ProPresenter is the best, right? Like ProPresenter is really the best. Is used by professionals. Where I did the video about Lakewood Church. Lakewood Church is one of the biggest churches in the world. They use ProPresenter, right? There's a reason why they use ProPresenter is because it's the best. Because for them, budget is not a problem, right? So you understand that ProPresenter it's got some reputation, it's got some standard, and a lot of churches are actually using it. It's really hands down one of the best, right? If you can afford it. Now, if you cannot afford it, again, you can simply take any of cheaper options out there like Easy Worship. OpenLP is a free one, but as you're gonna see that it's not as good as ProPresenter. Even Easy Worship is not as good as ProPresenter. Easy Worship, you still have to pay for it, and it's a little cheaper than ProPresenter. But again, guys, you can be creative and get some good stuff, good looking stuff. Something that you can get from ProPresenter by investing in yourself, investing in your skills. But to answer your question, ProPresenter is the best, man. I'm not gonna lie. And then from there, you can go down to Easy Worship depending on what you can afford and what you need. And then if you cannot afford Easy Worship, again, you can go down to free options, like OpenLP, right? I think there's a Media Shout as well. Few options out there you can consider, right? Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I get your point. Yeah, man. That's really like that's my opinion. That's how I see things. Like, if you can afford it, get the best, But if you cannot, invest in your skills. I guarantee you can get the best image or the best live stream by simply investing in your skills and use the little budget that you have. So we got Mark. Hey Mark, welcome back. I think I saw you on my last live stream. I remember you. Yeah, welcome back, man. I appreciate you being here. Which software do you recommend? Again, Mark, if I remember you live streaming for church, right? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if you live streaming for church or. But if you're asking for live streaming, for church live streaming, I think last time you told me you were live streaming for a church. Then I would recommend you use. Again, it comes down to the same thing. If you can afford, I feel like vMix is the sweet spot. That's my personal opinion. I feel like vMix is the sweet spot for church live streaming. Again, depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to live stream on multiple platforms at the same time, like simultaneously, or you simply want a live streaming software? So like budget wise and performance wise and quality wise, and user friendliness, I feel like vMix is the sweet spot, right? It's affordable and it can do almost everything, right? And it's easy to use, right? Now, if you have money, right, and budget is not a problem, I've seen bigger churches use something like Resy. I don't know if you guys heard about Resy. They don't even put the pricing on their website. So they won't tell you how much they're going to charge. You kind of have to email them, and then someone will call you, and then will do some sort of consultation, and then they will kind of assess your needs, and they will tell you, they give you a plan, and will tell you how much you're gonna have to pay. I think you pay monthly. But the good thing about their technology is they're going to make sure you get like 100% of whatever you pushing to their live stream. So like they have a technology that I think they add a little bit of delay on your live stream, but at the same time they're going to kind of, the way they encode the video is like lossless, right? so you're not gonna lose any data from what you uploading from your switcher. And another use of Resi, if you have multiple campuses, you can actually, like some people like to, they say from campus A to send their actual live stream to kind of live stream to the other campus at the same time. So you're gonna have like an encoder, a Resi encoder, and a Resi decoder. So basically, it's like a receiver and how do I call it? Like something sending the signal and then another one receiving the signal. So like a lot of churches use that option to kind of send and receive maybe like the pastor or the band, the worship, kind of like in real time, like kind of feel like they're together. So those are two ways to that's one way, right? But it's you if you have budget, like a lot of churches do that. Now for just normal live streaming, again I would say vMix is kind of like in the middle. I can do I think I would recommend vMix for most of the people. It's kind of user friendly, and yeah, and anyone can easily learn it and use it, and at the same time it doesn't cost a lot of money. So yeah, let me see. We got Pat, Pat Rick, very insightful. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining the stream. Let me know if you live streaming for church or any other kind of live streaming. Let me know. We get Aaron. Um, bro, I love Pro Prisoner 7. Great platform. Also, you just got another. Thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot for the sub. So make sure you stick around, okay? Don't unsubscribe. Just kidding. If you love my content, man, I love to have you in the live streaming and live production tips and tools family as I navigate the live streaming world with you guys. Okay, this is me just sharing my knowledge, my journey, and everything I do in the live streaming and video recording world. So welcome to the family. Feel free. You can shoot me an email anytime if you need help setting up anything or you need my input. I'm very accessible for free. So my email address is in the description, and welcome to the family. So guys, let me see. Looks we got actually today got 6 people watching right now, and I'm 10 minutes over. So again, guys, if you have questions, I'm probably gonna be ending the stream soon, maybe in 5 minutes. Again, if you have questions, let me know before I leave the stream. Again, today we were talking about hardware, live streaming, switchers, and versus software live streaming switchers or encoders. So we talked about OBS, vMix, Restream, Resi, like stuff like that for like the software part. We talked about the cons and the pros for using software, which is mainly software part is the only problem for software. Mostly is the fact that you have to rely on your computer most of the time. So you gotta make sure your computer is kind of good enough to handle all the work. Because you are kind of switching the cameras, upscaling or downscaling, and encoding audio compression, like a lot of stuff you're managing within your computer. So you gotta make sure your computer is good and is reliable. That's the only downside of it. but at the same time, you also like gotta make sure you're not putting too much work to do while live streaming. So like you don't want to be switching 4, 5, 6 cameras on the computer and then receiving some graphics in the same computer, managing that in the same computer, maybe controlling some PTZ cameras using vMix at the same time. So like it may become too much on the computer and on the person using it at the same time. As for And then plus on the top of that, you have to encode and push it to the live stream. So like you're using the streaming engine again from the software in the computer. So it may become too much, right? And on the hardware side, again, it's so easy. Okay, the good thing about the software, again, is something that you can rely on like it's something that you can easily update, right? It's like, if it's OBS, they keep sending OBS updates and stuff. vMix, same thing. Like you really something you can keep for a long time. As for switchers, physical switchers, so easy to use. It's gonna do the hard work for you. You won't need a super puff computer. So easy to use for volunteers. You just show them some buttons to hit, button 1 for camera 1, button 2 for camera 2, button 3 for camera 3. At the same time, it's gonna be like really reliable, because the only job it has to do is just to probably switch cameras and angles, maybe a little bit of audio and scaling and a little bit of compression maybe on the audio depending on your setup. And like it's only one kind of job thing that it has to do, and it's kind of more reliable compared to a software, and so it's more like user friendly, especially if you have volunteers or people who are not really tech savvy trying to run the production. So basically those were like two main differences, and the conclusion of course is really depends. It really depends on what you want to do. You could also do like use both, have like the encoding, the hardware, have it combined with your software, like have it to kind of switch cameras and bring in audio and stuff, and maybe send one program out to the computer, maybe have the computer like add maybe some graphics for some presentation stuff like that, and then maybe do the live streaming at the same time, right? So like so if you're using something like OBS or vMix, and then combine it with something like ATEM Mini Pro or ATEM Mini Extreme or Extreme ISO, whatever you may have, and you combine both, and it's gonna give you a super powerful setup. All right, guys. So that's what we talked about today, and had some chat and questions to answer. But again, if you're watching now and if you have some final questions, let me know. Other than that, I thank you guys for being here. Thank you, BMK. Thank you, Victor, for being here. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, EMM. Thank you, who else? Yeah, that's mostly the people that I can see in the chat. But other than that, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm gonna come back next Friday. So I do the live streams on a weekly basis, but it's not same day. So basically, like I do Mondays every other week, and Fridays every other week. So like today it's Monday, so I'm gonna come back next Friday, and then the week after it's gonna be on Monday, and then the week after that I'm gonna come on Friday, and the week after that I'm gonna be here on Monday. So basically, make sure you send me, if you have questions, reach out in the community tab. Send me some comments. Let me know anything you want me to talk about in the live streams. But at the same time, I'm gonna be releasing some videos as well. I try to release videos weekly, answering your specific questions about live streaming, video recording, some cameras, switchers, PTZ cameras, DSLRs, video cameras. I don't have videos on video cameras though. But probably eventually I may love to get into cinema cameras and stuff like that, answering your question and making sure I'm giving you some value to make sure you get to do amazing live streams and video recording. right? So you may be doing live stream for churches, for your church, or if you are a freelancer like myself. I have a video company and I have a church background at the same time, so I have things that I may share you on a church perspective. At the same time, I have things that I can share with you on a freelancer perspective, like live streaming for events or recording, live recording for bands, musicians. At the same time, for social media, I run a YouTube channel, as you can see, guys. So I have some videos about things like how to show your comments on the live stream, how to choose the best camera for YouTube, for Facebook, the best settings for YouTube and Facebook live stream or Twitch. I don't do too much of, I don't do a lot of content on Twitch because I'm not on Twitch. But, most of the time, we have a lot of things in common, like, when it comes to like using OBS, vMix, StreamYard, and all the streaming software, cameras for live streaming, they're all the same. So guys, in general, that's what I cover on my channel. So feel free, if you just joined, feel free to subscribe. You can watch the replay and watch some of my other videos as well. Other than that, let me check the chat. Yeah, it looks like the chat is quiet. Other than that, I love you guys, and again, thank you for being part of live streaming tips and tools, and I'll see you on my next video. Take care.